Let's talk about the Venezuelan oil tanker. We broke this story on yesterday's show, actually, but we've got some more detail today. It was seized by US forces yesterday. I don't know if anyone's seen the video footage of this, but they're sort of dramatically not parachuting down, but coming down from aircraft onto the deck of the tanker. So it's going to be taken to an American port, this oil tanker, and have its oil taken for consumption. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explained why the US seized the vessel.
With respect to the oil and what happened yesterday, the Department of Justice requested and was approved for a warrant to seize a vessel because it's a sanctioned shadow vessel known for carrying black market sanctioned oil to the IRGC, which you know is a sanctioned entity. So the president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
Caroline Leavitt, the White House Press Secretary. Do we have concrete evidence that the oil tanker was destined to go to Iran's powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps?
Not so far, we don't. Sources in Washington have confirmed to various media outlets that it was maybe going to Cuba, which is, of course, also on the U.S. administration's naughty list. But yeah, so we don't know those details. We know it's coming to port in the U.S. And as Trump said, I assume we're going to keep the oil. That's a direct quote from the president. So this is a new move, a very aggressive move. Of course, Venezuela's government is accusing the U.S. of international piracy. So this is definitely going to inflame tensions around what is called Operation Southern Spear, which is the increased pressure being put on the Venezuelan regime in a view, with the perspective that President Maduro needs to leave.
Yeah, there is lots of disagreement about why the boat was singled out and seized on Wednesday and how it sort of plays into the wider operation in Latin America as well. So the government of Maduro claimed the seizure revealed the Trump administration's true motives. It's always been about our natural resources, our oil, our energy, the resources that belong exclusively to the Venezuelan people. That is the issue here, isn't it? That there is a complete rupture developing between the people and the government of Venezuela and Donald Trump in the United States.
Right. And Caroline Leavitt was asked directly, is this Operation Southern Spear about drugs or is it about oil? And historically, that's an interesting question to pose to the U.S. about its overseas military adventures. So she answered the way I think U.S. officials historically have, by saying it's not about oil, it's about national security.
And the sort of drama behind the seizure, was that all for show? Was that optics, do you think, Anita?
Oh, I wouldn't try to guess, but I mean, we do know that this administration prizes optics, cares a lot about how things look. The president frequently calls people in his administration people out of central casting. So definitely it's on his mind. So that's a fair, educated guess on your part.
Are we going to see more of this?
Yes. That is what Caroline Leavitt said today. And it's worth noting that the U.S. simultaneously sanctioned 6 more vessels and also slapped sanctions on some relatives of Nicolas Maduro, the president.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll watch that one closely. And much is being said about Trump's desire for the Nobel Peace Prize. Caroline Leavitt gave an update on Ukraine war peace negotiations today.
If it's still up in the air, whether we believe real peace can be accomplished and we can truly move the ball forward, the president is extremely frustrated with both sides of this war, and he's sick of meetings just for the sake of meeting. He doesn't want any more talk. He wants action. He wants this war to come to an end. And the administration has spent more than 30 hours, just in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Russians and the Ukrainians and the Europeans and speaking with them as well. So we'll see about the meetings this weekend, and stay tuned.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely developments happening. We know that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are due to meet, I think it's Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron and Friedrich Merz this weekend. There are discussions going on, also lots of Ukrainian officials involved in that as well. So this is progressing, isn't it, along?
Sure, we've seen the peace plan move from 29 points to 19 points, continuing discussions, Trump putting his finger on the scale by saying, I'm very disappointed disappointed in all of you. But I mean, recall that he promised to resolve this war before he took office. That was in January. So this is taking considerably longer than he himself promised.
What do you make of his comments, by the way? We're getting a lot of information here about this national security document and the fact that that it is supposed to be behind closed doors, not the detail is meant to be confidential. But we understand today there's been loads on it. Basically, it appears to be an interference in European politics. It appears that Donald Trump is not a fan of European leaders. He describes them as weak. All other manner of criticisms aimed towards Europe. And today we understand the latest leak involves the US administration's target, I suppose, aim to try and encourage 4 more EU countries to leave the European Union: Austria, Hungary, Italy and Poland. All the while they're saying that their foreign policy has changed from the Cold War, where they say elites convinced themselves that permanent American domination of the entire world was in the best interest of the country. Yet the affairs of other countries are our concern only if their activities directly threaten our interests. So that what they're saying here is that there is a complete change in American foreign policy. It is America first. That is the theme behind it. Yet they're meddling and interfering in Europe at the same time. Is much being made of this over there?
The key detail in this national security strategy that just came out is, or the key focus really is, the U.S. is pulling back to this hemisphere, which is a callback to the Monroe Doctrine of the 19th century. So we're working more, according to this document, on focusing on closer threats. Hence the rhetoric and the actions against Venezuela, the rhetoric against Colombia's president, and so on and so forth. But you're right. I don't know how you square that circle between the strategy saying we are not going to interfere and then encouraging 4 EU member states to leave. I don't know how that logically works out, but yeah, I'm at a loss on that one as to how that fits in.
Disney has agreed to invest $1 billion in OpenAI, which will allow users of the chatbot ChatGPT to use many of Disney's iconic characters. It's the first major studio to license parts of its catalogue to the AI company, meaning users will be able to generate and share pictures and videos of more than 200 characters from Disney's franchises. What does this mean for the future of entertainment? This is a very large studio getting into bed with AI, embracing it completely, Anita.
Well, I mean, this is CEO Bob Iger of Disney said that this is actually their way of putting guardrails around the thing. But I mean, as human beings have shown, if you give us a tool, we will somehow find a way to weaponize it. So this is the beginning of something probably both interesting, wonderful, and maybe also terrifying. This is going to come to users early next year, and it's going to feature a lot of these characters we all know and love. I saw some name checks. Cinderella is going to be on there. So, but there are going to be guardrails according to OpenAI. But I don't know what the specifics are. Already on ChatGPT, for example, you can't engage in rhetoric that's considered dangerous. You can't do things that are a threat to other people. So I guess that would be in keeping with with their established standards. We would see that with this program, but it's a crazy new world. It's a brave new frontier. I don't even know. I think we just all have to stay tuned and buckle up.
This is part of the focus on this is around Sora. It allows this is a program that OpenAI launched. It allows users to create short videos by simply typing in a prompt, and now you can use Sora with this new licensing agreement with Disney. It means that more than 200 characters across Disney, Marvel, Pixar and Star Wars you can feature in those videos. I suppose this is one way to embrace the issue of AI. There's a huge concern over here, certainly, about how people, actors and texts, down to newspaper articles, can be manipulated by AI and absorbed into AI models without permission. And this is just quite an interesting move by Disney, who've just gone all in for it. and the intellectual property surrounding many of their famous characters. So it's interesting.
Sure, but on the other side, I mean, this might be used by smaller content creators in specific environments to do, these so-called edutainment, educational entertainment videos for specific groups, markets, or demographics. Like Mickey Mouse telling children in the Apache language, wash your hands. That seems like a decent idea. So I think we're going to see this used for all sorts of things.
Okay, let's finish up on Tim Walz, the Democratic governor of Minnesota, is going to face Trump ally and Republican Party donor Mike Lindell, pillow guy, in the 2026 governor election. Lindell is a pillow salesman. This seems bizarre, but honestly, it's true. He's faced multiple defamation lawsuits over his false election claims and has been ordered to pay millions of dollars as a result. Here we have the pillow guy then entering into mainstream US politics.
Well, you hit it square on the head there, Kate, by mentioning that this story is really about Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota who's running for a third term. This is the first, the Trumpiest challenge so far. But this really is about the midterm elections later next year, because they're going to kind of really determine how Trump is going to be able to behave in the last 2 years of his term, whether he has support of governors, of Congress, and so on and so forth. So this is very interesting, but it's a crowded Republican field, I just have to say. And Walz is the two-time incumbent. So it's definitely going to be a race to watch. But anything could happen in Trump world.
What else can you tell us about Mike Lindell, the pillow salesman, pillow guy?
Well, I mean, I think you're being unfair to him, Kate. He also sells crosses, coffee, energy drinks, sheets, towels, and he touts regular sales on his website. He also runs, critically, Lindell TV, which is an upstart TV network that has credentials to both the White House and the Pentagon. And as you recall, the Pentagon recently got into a disagreement with establishment media reporters, and they walked out in protest. And Lindell TV is now there covering the news that people need out of the Pentagon.
Well, look, it's fascinating to speak to you. Always great to catch up. US reporter Anita Powell there. That was the Trump dump. Cheers, Anita. Good to speak to you.
Thank you.